Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning back in. You know, I've been doing this for roughly a year now, and I've gotten a lot of really good feedback, a lot of really good comments. But one comment that a lot of people keep bringing up has to do with tannic colored water and what baits I like to fish in tannic colored water. And what I mean by tannic is it's coffee colored. So it's clear, but it's got a little bit of a bronze color to it. It's just different. You find a lot of it up here in the upper Midwest. There's a lot of it over in the Northeast. There's some down in Florida. You know, kind of scattered throughout the entire country, and it has to do with a tint that's coming from my understanding is from like the root systems of where the water's coming from. So up here in the upper part of the country here, we have a lot of hemlock trees, and from what I've been told, it's almost like leaching coming out of the hemlock trees and some of the marshes, and that just leads to a coffee color. Now it still is clear. I mean, there's a lot of lakes in Wisconsin that has like 6 foot of visibility, but it's got this tint to it. So if the sun's out, you can see the bottom in 4 to 6 feet. If the sun's not out, you can see down in like 3 feet, but it's still generally clear. And a lot of times they're really good fisheries because they have really good vegetation growth because the water's clear, but because it's dark water as well, it's almost like you can power fish and the fish still live relatively shallow. So they're just easier lakes to fish. And they're some of my favorite bodies of water to fish. So the first thing I want to point out, anytime you're fishing a tannic body of water, your darker colors are generally going to be better. Your black and blues, your June bugs, your black, those are all staples for me in that off-colored water. But because of that, I do have differences in bait choices that I like as well. So the first thing I'm just going to point out is that in that colored water, a jig, a big bulky jig, is phenomenal for me. This is a go-to. Anywhere I go with tannic water, I have a big jig tied on. This is the Scott Canterbury Flippin' Jig by Dirty Jigs, and I've just got a full-size chigger craw in the back. This is a great combination, and it gets a lot of really good strikes. I like using that sapphire blue. I like throwing black and blue in that coffee-colored water. It seems to work really well for me, especially when flipping around wood or flipping like holes in dense vegetation. That's a great bait. And that works, I mean, across the country, that bait, all these baits really, across the country in tannic color have excelled for me. No matter what, anywhere you go, because it's still generally clear, you've got good ability to throw your favorite stickworm. So, you know, in my case, I like throwing the Max Scent General. Some people like the Senko, just whatever worm it is, it's still going to be a really good choice in that watercolor because it is clear. You still can fish finesse, even though it is off colored a little bit. The difference is for me, I'm going to start going to the darker colors. This is the June bug. June bug is a phenomenal color anytime you're fishing tannic colored water. And I'm going to, you know, flip and pitch this around everywhere. It's a great go-to bait in that watercolor. You know, the same thing goes for your Texas rigs. If you're fishing any sort of Texas rig craws or just whatever your favorite Texas rig bait is, I like to stick with the darker colors again. You know, this is another one of my favorites, the Pit Boss and the June bug color. Anytime I'm down in Florida or up here in Wisconsin, I am flipping a Pit Boss in a darker color and getting a lot of bites doing it. It's just something you want, you know, some kicking motion to it. You just got to have a Texas rig pretty much anywhere you go. The key here is you just need a good darker color, and June bug seems to really excel in coffee colored water. So sticking with the theme of staying a little bit bigger, I do really like to throw big creature baits. This is a Zoom Brush Hog. This is their blueberry color, which is one that I love in the tannic water. It's black with blue flake. You know, pretty subtle. The key here again is it's a bulky bait. So for me, this works really well on Carolina rigs and just working around some deeper weed lines. I love to throw a bulkier bait. and a creature bait seems to get bit really well in that tannic water. And again, I can't stress it enough. It's off colored, so you can throw the bigger baits, but it's still clear, so you can almost more kind of finesse fish it and work slow baits like a creature bait on a Carolina rig. So that's kind of what I'm fishing slow. Once, you know, when I'm fishing moving baits, and it can be tougher to fish moving baits in some of these places because you do get that really good weed growth. But early in the year, I love to fish a lipless. And I really, so there's a couple color choices I really like. In this case, this is the War Pig, and it's in, I think it's just like their perch color. I really like it because it's got the chartreuse color. So when I'm fishing tannic, I like chartreuses and I like chromes. I really like gold chrome. And, you know, that's kind of one of the colors I'm going to be throwing no matter what time of year. The chromes work great. And if you've got baits with some chartreuse in it, they'll work great as well. Early in the year, the lipless works so much better because you have, you know, smaller weed growth because it's still growing. And that's what I like to do. I will switch over to like a chatterbait once the weed growth gets bigger, or a swim jig. But again, I'm sticking with those darker colors, trying to mimic bluegills. A lot of times these lakes have really good bluegill populations. The last bait, which works everywhere I go in tannic, is a spinnerbait like this War Eagle. And what I want to point out though is what I always do when I'm in tannic is I'll color the blades. So I'll take, you know, this is the Sharpie permanent marker, the brush pen, which I really like, and I'll just color the whole blade, and this gives it like a purplish hue. You know, this is the pink one, but on the blade it looks more purple. I really, really like that flash in the tannic water. So this is either the pink marker, they've got a purple marker, and they've got a blue marker. All three of those work really well. I've got a little dab of the blue on the back just so you could compare it. It's just amazing to me how it gives off a different flash in that tannic water. If I did this and fished this in clear water, it would be super, super bright, like pink, glowing. In the tannic, it just kind of gives you a darker flash, you know, a purple flash. It's really a unique thing to do. And it's something that I was taught by some guys down in Florida. I brought it back up north, and it really crushes them up north here too. So I highly recommend giving that a try if you're fishing tannic water. So that's really it, guys. You know, it's what's so great about tannic is you can power fish it because the fish are still going to be in good thick cover because you have good weed growth. A lot of these lakes, you do have lots of wood in them as well, which is kind of part of the reason you're getting that tannic color. And it's just like, you can power fish them, you can finesse fish them, you can fish your strengths, and for the most part, the fish are going to be generally shallower, you know, and that makes them more accessible for all of us. So I hope this was helpful. If it was, hit that like button. Stay tuned. We got more tips and tricks coming out tomorrow. And if there's a topic that you guys want me to talk about, throw it up in the comments section. Thanks for watching.